will have a talk of Professor Raj Reddy.
Okay. Thank you. This was a topic that was given to us, future of AI. It's an interesting topic. Predicting future is always a risky business, but there are several ways of approaching it. One is to look to the past for inspiration. I was fortunate to start in AI in 1963 and had the opportunity to work with all the four founders of AI. My advisor was John McCarthy. Marvin Minsky was visiting Stanford, and I worked with him in 1964. And then when I went to Carnegie Mellon, I had the opportunity to work with Noel and Simon. So, close it. So, one of the things I remember from talking to them and spending time with them is how central human-centric AI was for them. Their main idea was we are doing AI to enhance the capabilities of the human beings. It's an intelligence amplifier. Just like engineering amplifies your physical capabilities, AI should attempt to amplify your mental capabilities. And by induction, it would improve your productivity, human productivity. Just like when you're driving, you're going 10 times faster than walking, perhaps, or 20 times. What was missing, that's also interesting to look at that time, was any discussion about intuition or creativity or innovation or emotion or empathy in AI. Now we talk about it, and it's not unreasonable to talk about it. I think the main reason we didn't think about it or talk about it seriously is because we didn't know how to define success or failure. When we were working on vision or speech or walking or chess or any of those problems we worked with, we may not know how to do it, but we knew how to measure criteria of success or failure. Did we succeed or not? That was not true with these other abstract concepts. But that doesn't mean we should work on it. We cannot work on it. We will, I'm sure. But at that time, it was not there. The second interesting discussion that happens is general AI versus special AI. To me, it's a continuum. It's not, and I take the definition of intelligence from what Alan Newell's list, that is an intelligent system would have at least the following attributes: learn from experience, acquire and use large amounts of knowledge, operate in real time, tolerate error and ambiguity, collaborate and communicate using language, and use symbols and abstraction, chunking. I believe there are no systems today that exhibit all of them at the same time. Human beings do. And the reason is we don't know how to do all of them together. Not yet, anyway. Not that we don't try to. We use one of them, perhaps, knowledge, to build expert systems, or use big data, large amounts of data, to build deep neural networks or something. And they do operate in real time and tolerate error and ambiguity. So many of them are there in deep neural networks, but we are not yet fully able to substantiate all of them. So anyway, the second intuition you can get about the future is by looking at where we are succeeding today. The success of neural networks with deep learning has led to a paradigm shift in AI. All future AI research will be learning-centric. Computers will learn how to do things rather than being programmed. And secondly, all knowledge is probabilistic. That, you might say, how can that be? Sun rises, even sun rising and setting may be completely predictable, but not 3 billion years from now, right? So there are ways in which of looking at all knowledge, with maybe 99.999% correct, but it is in general probabilistic. But we don't yet have learning systems that learn from examples, learn by doing, learn by discovery, learn by mistakes, and learn from teachers. All of those are very important attributes in our learning arsenal. And we must acknowledge, however, the potential of learning-centric AI to reflect human biases and perpetuate human biases. And we need to ensure, going forward, there was a discussion about ethical AI, that AI is a tool for inclusion and equality rather than for bias and discrimination. So, going to the future of AI, there are some near-term possibilities, and I'll come to the next one. I believe we can completely eliminate lockdowns of the kind that we saw with COVID. We now have phone watches that can continuously monitor temperature, oxygen, heart rate, breathing rate, and blood pressure. And there's no reason why we can't use them to identify and isolate patients long before they onset of infection. We can eliminate literacy divide using AI that understands student learning behavior. Now, I think Justine was talking about, intelligent tutoring systems. Now the big data meets intelligent tutoring systems because we can now monitor every keystroke and every mouse click of every student in the whole universe. And that gives us additional information on the student learning behavior. We can actually tell whether they're motivated or struggling or gifted or whatever. We can eliminate the language divide. We'll be able to, in the future, watch any movie, read any textbook, talk to anyone, anywhere, independent of the language of the producer and consumer. And speech-to-speech translation systems will make it possible. And finally, we can empower the people at the bottom of the pyramid. Over 2 billion people can't read or write. Or if they can read, they can understand. And all of them now get enabled by systems where you only use speech to speak with like interaction, like Alexa. And that it will transform the world because all of a sudden 1/3 of the population will be empowered by the use of information technology that they now can't. And finally, my hope is that we'll ultimately have intelligence amplifiers. Every one of us should have a set of tools, intelligence amplifiers, which will act as intelligent assistants. And there are a whole bunch of attributes that we don't quite know how to build in those systems. They should be, if I have an intelligent assistant that's going to help me to do various things, they have to be always on, always working, always learning, and enduring learners. And that they have to be able to enhance human capabilities and let us do things faster, better, and with less effort. They should be able to anticipate what you want to do and help you to do it. They should pay your bills. They should order your groceries without you having to tell them. Then there are guardian angels which will do things that you cannot do. You cannot anticipate events like cyclones and hurricanes. Then there are superhuman guardian angels that are what we call AI Bill of Rights, provide the right information to the right people at the right time in the right language at the right level of detail. All this. This is from Jaime Carbonell in 1993. And it turns out if you could have done that, there were 300,000 people that died in Indian Ocean tsunami because of, and if you could tell, it could have told all the people on the South Indian coast that there's an imminent danger of 100-foot waves in 15 minutes, and speaking to them in Tamil language in words that cannot be understood by illiterate fishermen. We now have the technology how to do it. We know how to do it. It requires essentially godlike knowledge of everything that's happening in the world. That means we must instrument everybody, we must know everything from everyone, and we can do it, but that essentially has to wait until we figure out how to deal with privacy and security and all the other issues, which we'll solve, I believe, in the next 10 years. Then we'll be able to do that. Thank you.
Maybe you want to react on this and maybe on learning